What's going on, Tamers? It's your boy Varney of DigiGuard United. Y'all should know me from DIGIPOD, the digital podcast that I do with my boys Mike and Dan. I'm coming at y'all today with a deck profile for the core TCG regionals that I won yesterday with Examon. I went 9-0. It was one hell of a ride. I don't know how, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how I did it. But we came out with the dub, 9 entire rounds undefeated. There are a lot of sweat matches, so we are going to be doing our deck profile here. So let's switch over. So we're gonna zoom this camera in here. Oh, that's a little bit too far. Hold on, let me back that up. All right, so first we're gonna start out with our eggs. So of course, we've got our 4 BT11. It's the Examon egg. It is the egg you want to play. You would love draw power eggs, but you don't really want to attack early. You don't really want to lose anything that you're building up. Plus, the DP is what matters. The DP is essential. You really want your Examon to be as big as possible so that there is like no possible way that people can swing over you. Because Grandness gets big, Black or Gray can get big. Well, Greymon Tribal can get big, but yeah. So we have 3 best cards in the deck. All right, let's get that straight. The first set of best cards in the deck is our BT11 Dracomon. This Dracomon is goated. You don't care about the main effect. What you care about is the inheritable. Being able to drop Groundramon. Sorry, brain fart there. You drop Groundramon, you gain a memory. So it goes from 7 to a 6 drop. Then you go into Examon, and then goes from 6 drop to a 5 drop. If you're at Examon already and you play something else, anything is reduced by 1 essentially, right? Like this makes your Examon plays cheaper. This is always the rookie I wanted in hand because I always wanted to Digivolve this. Reason I wanted to Digivolve this one outside of the inheritable is because while this Dracomon is goated, you love the DP boost on this. I always tried to save this in hand so I could have a search for whenever I need it, because other than Davis and Blue Memory Boost, this is the only card in the deck that can search for Examon. This searches for Examon and a Dramon, so that's clutch. You want to maximize on how many searchers you might be able to get off because we don't have many searchers, especially for particular pieces in this deck. So always wanted BT11 in my hand to Digivolve, this one in my hand to play if I need to. We play one of the worst Dracomons ever made, or I don't like this Dracomon because it's getting an alternate art with Examon on the art, but the card doesn't search for Examon, and it always bottom decks my Examon. I have the 1 in here because there's always the case that you need a Dramon, which has happened a couple times, but I don't like it at more than 1 because I never want to play it. Like I almost never want to play it. The last set of rookies we play are 3 Madoki Betamon. Floodgates, always goated. It's Madoki, right? It's helpful against Beelzemon to an extent. It's helpful against Merva Cross. I love the card. It came in clutch for me, not during regionals per se, but I played against Merva Cross one time at locals, and I dropped double Madoki on them, and they ended up giving me 7 memory to get rid of both of my Madokis. So it's good for me, right? So that's why I run the 3, because I want to see it. I'd like to see 2 so I can drop 2 and be like, haha, GG. So here's the second best card in the deck. Starter deck Cordramon. This card it's absolutely goated. Security, battle happens. So, they swing like Sparrowmon, anything lower than 5k, battle happens. So it deletes whatever Digimon it's battling. And then it plays. And the on play is draw 2. I don't think you can ask for anything more. It's really good too, because if you open Madoki, you open this, you're only ever going to Digivolve for 2, which is super nice because the other Cordramons Digivolve for 3, unless they're Digivolving on Dracomon. So this is nice to make use of the Madokis. This is just a nice card in general. You can drop this off of Kaiser Nail, you can drop this off of Examon. It's just really good. If you have nothing else to do in hand, boom, you're plussing 1, right? It's replacing and then it's plussing. So the next Cordramon we run 2 of the Blue Evade. I run 2 of this because I run 4 of the other one. There's nothing really honestly else to say about it. We're not particularly in a meta where you need like a lot of evade. Plus you have evade on Wingdramon. So the more important one is the blocker one, since this is blocker on body as well as inheritable. So you basically have a ton of blockers in this deck. So we run 4 of this one. We only run 2 of the other one. Ultimate lineup, I mean, it is what it is, right? You guys already know what it is. There's nothing different here. We're running 4 Wingedramon. We're running 4 Groundramon. These are your Examon pieces. They're Godomon for Examon. They treat themselves as level 6s. At the end of turn, you can DNA. Nothing more to say about them. We run 3 Breakdramon. Breakdramon goated. I used to play 2. Sometimes this would be an Imperial, sometimes it'd be something else. I like 3 because I can see it at least once. Sometimes I see 2, which is really cool. Being able to have 2 of these delete something and then it trashes 2 security. So super nice in that aspect. One thing you guys will want to keep in mind when it comes to Examon is you don't always want to drop Slayerdramon. Like, yes, you do want like a Slayerdramon in stack, but sometimes it's more beneficial to put Slayer in stack and play Breakdramon. It's really useful in like the cross matchup, for example, because in my experience, cross has always passed turn and left me with like 3 to 5 bodies to take care of, and as Examon, I can't take care of all of those bodies, and sometimes I don't have my Spice Dexmon in hand. So playing Breakdramon with Slayer underneath lets me suspend Breakdramon to force them to attack. They'll attack, Breakdramon suspend something, Exa blocks, and then suspend something else. So you just took care of 3 bodies with 2 Digimon. You got to suspend 1, block 1, and suspend another one. It's also useful in like the Grandest matchup because of how much Grandest suspend. So if they suspend this, then you suspend them. As long as they're not suspending you, well, even if they suspend you like end of attack, then you'll just suspend down the Grandest anyways. I think the only, no, because it doesn't do it mid-attack. Well, I guess you could attack mid-attack with, what's it called? The X Antibody and a Kuomon and go into Grandest, but then they're not getting the full extent of their stack off. So, you know, it is what it is. And then I lied. It's not 3 best cards in the deck. It's 4 best cards in the deck. Slayerdramon. Against 80% of decks, possibly 85 to 90% of decks, if you establish Slayerdramon, GG. Your opponent can't do anything. Slayerdramon, you suspend a Dramon, you force your opponent to attack. You just can't get past that sometimes. You'll have to try to like outboard them. You'll have to have more Digimon on board so that you can swing with whatever you want. But that's what it boils down to. Clarification on Slayerdramon that a lot of people may not realize. When your opponent forces you to attack, you choose what Digimon you attack with. You choose where you attack, whether it's another Digimon of your opponent's or security. That's important to know because if Slayerdramon allowed me to choose what Digimon you attack with, I don't think Examon would be tier 1.5. It might still be, but it would be a hell of a lot better than it is. But that is not the case. Your opponent chooses what to attack and where to attack with. So with that in mind, it's still really good. I mean, you still want to force your opponent to attack so that you can either block or you block with Examon, or even if you let it attack security, just so that they can't do something. Like a lot of times against Black or Gray, would just suspend, force them to attack, let them attack my security. But then I know that they can't, there's nothing that unsuspends other than Omni, and they're probably not getting into Blitz Omni in the same turn if they're swinging with an Agumon. Maybe if they're at Greymon, but you know. Now for the best card in the deck, the namesake himself, Examon, the king of the Royal Knights. I love Examon because it's what are they called? Dungeon boss rush style deck. Examon DNA Digivolves, it places a Digimon underneath and it spits out a Digimon. And then when it becomes suspended, it unsuspends and it suspends something. So it's super oppressive, especially when comboed with Slayer, because it just allows you to do some really wonky stuff and really control your opponent's board. I love Examon. I have loved this deck since the deck came out, since it was revealed even. You know, we were hoping it was going to be red. It turned out to be green-blue, and I still like it. I just love the idea. I love Royal Knights as a whole, and I mean, even if you see from the art, like just the sheer size of Examon, like the sheer, like, yes, this is the king of the Royal Knight, like that type of thing. Like, you know, I love that. I love that. Here's our Spice. You know, the YouTuber Spice, the one of Dexmon. I would never play this deck without it. Dexmon won me the finals. Lychee, who is a phenomenal player, by the way. Absolute shout out to the man. I love Lychee. We had him on the podcast last year when he topped with Black or Gray before Black or Gray was even relevant. He pioneered the OGs, Wart Defeat Turbo. So it's nice to get my dub against the best to do it. That being said, he had OmniX on board. He under the OmniX, he had a Metal Greymon, and then he had 2 other stacks. He had like 4 Tamers. So my Dexmon was free. Digivolved the OmniX into a Metal Greymon, which Slayer was then able to swing over. So super nice. It's just sometimes the board gets too wide for you as Examon to handle, and this is what that card is for. People think that this card needs to be banned. You're wrong. It's a skill issue, right? It just, if you like, I got freaking dexed as Examon because I had like double Davis, Examon, Slayer, and something else. So he dropped a 5-cost Dexmon, and I was like, that's a fair play. I can't argue with that. I was able to rebound because Examon Digivolves either into a level 5 or 6, so no big deal. Slayerdramon doesn't go anywhere, no big deal, or Wingdramon, whatever. But it's a card that if you are a good player, you will know how to utilize this card, and you will also know how to play around this card. The thing is, right, because the card is splashable, you never know when to expect it. Like, I was playing Jesmon when he dropped that Dex. I did not expect Jesmon to run Dex. I didn't expect them to have space for it, but they did. And Lychee said it to me. He was like, damn, I didn't expect you to have Dex. And I was like, it's the YouTuber spice. We run 3 Davis. 5 best cards in the deck. Davis searches blue and green. It's a memory setter. It searches top 3. You take 1 blue, you take 1 green. That's what, 70? 80% of your deck? Blue and green? Like, Davis is goated. It's the only Tamer we play because I don't like dex bait. I used to run Takumi in here. I really like the idea of Takumi. I don't like being easy dex bait. Like, for decks that can't out Examon, it's just, let me just drop Dexmon. And I'm like, I can't, not that I can't deal with it. I can, but like, So only 3 Tamers because I want to reduce the amount of Dexmon bait I give them. Blue Memory Boost. I don't necessarily care about Blue Memory Boost, to be totally honest with y'all. That's the reason I only run 1. I used to run 2. I don't like it. It bottom decks my green pieces. I never really use it. I'd rather Digivolve if I can, or play my Searcher, which will pull me 2 things, and the Examon that I need. Like, that's why I only run it at 1. I don't think I would cut it, but I don't think I'd run 2. I think it's fine at 1. For me personally. For y'all, it could be different. Just remember that. Deck profiles are very personal. But if there's one card you should play is Ice Wall. You never play Examon or almost any blue deck without your 1 of Ice Wall. Card is good, right? Card literally says, I might be in a precarious position next turn. Here. Or in Examon's case, card is literally a 1-cost Slayerdramon. You play this, go to 0, Digivolve Slayerdramon, put them to 3, start a turn, suspend Slayerdramon, force them to attack. Now they're at 1 memory. You just Digivolve for 1, or technically 2. So you reduce cost by 1, but it's really nice. It combos very well with the deck. And if this card was at 4, I don't know how, but I would have been playing this card at 4 in Examon. Another go-to this weekend, Megadeth. I hated this card in the first 6 rounds. I did not like Megadeth. I used to run some Arisanti and tried Avalon's Gate for a bit. I had another Kaiser Nail and another Dexmon. I had Imperial. Like, there was so much I had in this spot. This was my flex spot. Going into the tournament this weekend, I said, I probably need removal because it sucks when like I don't have Examon out and I need removal, or when I do have Examon out but like I can't out whatever is across the board from me, so I need removal. So Megadeth, I hated in the first 6 rounds, and then round 7, 8, 9, this card was clutch all the time. Against Beelzemon, he attacked, second check was Megadeth, so I got to suspend another Impmon that was going to swing and then bounce the Beelzemon back to hand. Against Grandis, need I say more? Hitting this in security against Grandis is so nice. And it also helped in Black War Gray. Definitely did help in Black War Gray. Even though, they have protection against removal, It popped out as security, so I was able to strip source from one day at the Greymon X under, and then I was actually able to Megadeth it from hand the next turn or the turn after or whatever. So goated, I will keep it at 2. I was very on the fence about it. I was like, damn, I'm gonna take this card out, but after facing Grandis and how it worked in security for Beelzemon, it stays in the deck for sure. Last card, our tech, our actual tech, Kaiser Nail. Card is goated. So this is a shout out to the Digimon TCG 2020 group on Discord. The Examon stands in there. We've been going at Examon lists since for like forever, honestly. And the one card that like has almost always been a mainstay, Kaiser Nail. Card is good. What can I say? One of the best combos you're able to pull off with Kaiser Nail. I'd raise Groundramon, Digivolve Slayerdramon, swing, because I know all I can do then is Kaiser Nail, play Groundramon, end of turn, DNA. So I get to reuse the same exact source without having to drop another 7-drop, or alternatively, raise, drop the 7-drop, but then don't get any attacks off. So it lets me recycle. Even what I do is, you come up, you swing once, that's it, goes to your next turn, blop, blop, okay, Kaiser Nail. Now you get to play an Examon for effectively 4 cost, and if you have what I call the best rookie in the deck, in Dracomon, you just gain the memory from playing the Groundramon, and then you're going to create a new stack with Examon, and you're going to gain another memory because it's a new stack. So your 4-cost Kaiser Nail was a 2-cost Kaiser Nail. So really, really good. I love Kaiser Nail for that. Kaiser Nail also works really good with this Cordramon. There were so many times that like I just played Kaiser Nail to play this Cordramon because I needed to fix my hand just to get the draw 2, honestly. So that came in clutch a lot of times. Deck is deck, bro. I absolutely love Examon. Examon has been the deck that I have been playing since EX3. I always will preach, do not buy the pre-sales. Mario's Gaming World, he preaches that. We preach that on the podcast, don't buy the pre-sales. That's the one time I violated my rules, not gonna lie. Granted, it wasn't bad, right? We kind of expected the prices to stabilize. We knew that we were gonna need 4 Examon in the deck, or at least 3 at the time. So I overpaid for Slayerdramons because Slayers were maybe like 15 or so, and Dracomons were like 20. So I mean, yeah, I paid like I paid some amount of I paid some amount of money for the deck at the time, but it was the only deck in the entire game that I have been so excited for. That's not a yellow deck. That I had to buy. I had to get my stuff, and I had to get it. I think I also had a tournament to participate in, so I needed to make sure I was going to get my stuff. But I absolutely love Examon. My phone is over here. Let me tell y'all my matches. So I played round 1 Beelzemon, round 2 Black War Grey X, round 3 Beelzemon, round 4 Jesmon, round 5 Merva Cross, round 6 Black War Grey X, round 7 Beelzemon, round 8 Grandis, and round 9 Black War Grey X. Most of my matches were they 2-0? No. Grandis was a 2-1 match. Beelzemon was a 2-1 match. Merva Cross was a 2-1 match. And I might have had one more 2-1 match, but everything else was pretty much 2-0. It generally boiled down to, do I see Pagumon? Is that Pagumon? Is that Yaman? Okay, that's GG. Once I can establish something with evade, 9 times out of 10, I'm good against Beelzemon. I would only drop the game if I couldn't see Slayerdramon and they rushed me faster than I could establish anything on board. So that was my Beelzemon matchups. Beelzemon right now isn't difficult. Beelzemon next set, I think that people are saying Examon is bad next set. I love Examon, so I'm still going to play it. But I know I see where that deck will struggle. It's definitely going to struggle against Beelzemon because when Beelzemon kicks off, like, you're going to have to board control the hell out of Beelzemon. And even then, you know, it's difficult because they could just simply raise the Impmon. The Impmon, the starter deck Impmon, it has the one attacking, so it's going to warp into the new Beelzemon. They might not have the X antibody underneath, which will be the only thing. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's something that I'm going to have to playtest. I haven't playtested the matchup, but I know that could be a very scary match for Examon. Hunters is going to be a horrible matchup. if you have a Davis on field and they have their tamer set up and whatever, Slayerdramon is just going to stick Examon underneath. But you know, we'll see where Examon goes next set. For my other matchups, Black or Gray, I want to shout out my boy Dan. I hate playing against Black or Gray. I thought Black or Gray was Examon's worst matchup. Digivolve is killer. It's the same reason that like Machine Jamon's a bad matchup for Examon, because Digivolve is killer. But I just realized that like my boy Dan is just stupidly good with Black or Gray. It's maybe it's because I play him so damn much, but that man always has the answers for my Examons and my Slayers, bro. But shout out to him. If it wasn't for him, bro, I was not navigating through these 3 Black or Gray matchups at all, especially against Lychee. That was one hell of a match. Grandis, I personally feel like I have the edge in Grandis matchups. The problem is seeing my pieces before they see their pieces, and that's what happened. Grandis outpowered me game 1. Game 2, basically, it was up to me to control, like try to establish as much control as possible. And same thing with game 3. Mervacross is always scary no matter what deck you play against Mervacross. Ice Wall and Security is goated. He swung. He had already used like a Gravity Crush or something, or maybe, I don't even remember, but he gained memory, played the Merva, he swung something, last check in Security was Ice Wall. He was at 1 memory, so it passed me, and I was like, thank God, because that would have been match for him. And that's something for y'all to remember, right? Digimon is, I mean, it's a card game, but it's also a game based on luck. It's not as luck based as Card Fight Vanguard. But your security it's 5 random securities set from your deck. You never know what it can be. You also have the luck of the draw, and because Digimon is so different than something like Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic, in that for some decks, for me as Examon, I have to build in a specific way. I have to build level 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but typically I want to build with this level 4 and this level 5, and I want to see Slayerdramon, blah blah blah. It's a very luck-based game, and honestly, at the end of the day, there is just a factor of luck. Like, it's the reason that, Examon doesn't top consistently, because you need everything to go your way. But it also comes down to pilot, right? Pilot is a big thing. We end this weekend with 4 Examon tops. I won. We had a 5th place Examon on Saturday, I think. Or no, it was 5th place yesterday, I think. And then we had 2 more Examon tops on Saturday. So like, it's a big thing about being able to pilot your deck well enough throughout all of your matchups, because the one thing we love about Digimon, it's one thing I love about Digimon, you'll hear us talk about this on the podcast, you can win with almost any deck in Digimon. I say almost any deck. You can win with almost any deck in Digimon. For some decks, it's going to be super difficult, right? If I take Poop Deck, I might not be able to win out with Poop Deck just because. But it's possible, right? It's not, it might be like 1%, but it's possible. So just keep that in mind, play what you like. That's what I went into this weekend doing. I went into this weekend playing what I liked. I love Examon. That's what I wanted to play. I didn't want to play anything else. I didn't want to play the meta. I wanted to qualify for regionals with my deck, and that is exactly what I did, and I'm so proud of that. I'm also glad to finally bring home a regional win for Examon, because I believe it is the first regional win we have ever seen for Examon. I know Tev Anderson won last year with Examon at an Ultimate Cup. I believe EU might have had a regional where an Examon deck won, I can't remember. But as far as North America is concerned, I am super glad to have cemented my name as the Examon player to have won a regionals. And mulligans definitely helped the deck for sure. I made full use of that mulligan. I would see no rookie mulligan. I would see not necessarily a playable hand. Like I might have rookie in level 6, but then I'd have like Davis, Kaiser Nail, and something. I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna try to play this out mulligan. And sometimes it was bad, right? Like that's another thing about the mulligans that I don't want people to get caught up on. Mulligans are great. I don't want to make this video drag too long. We talked about this on the podcast too. You can hear that there, but mulligans are a skill thing. You got to know when to mulligan and when not to mulligan. That's a big thing. And I'll say that it's so validating having won, knowing that like I did everything as well as I could do it, everything within my power to bring that dub home. That being said, if y'all are not part of our Discord, go join the DigiGuard United Discord. It will be in the description below. Please subscribe to our channel for any future videos we might be uploading. We do have videos coming out later this week. The Eggman gave us permission to use the last 3 rounds from that was on stream for commentary. So we will be having those come out this week. So please subscribe so that you know when those are coming out. Please drop a comment, let me know what you think about Examon, what you're looking forward to in BT12. And until I talk to you guys the next time, peace out.